employees can provide their own fall protection harnesses under certain conditions. OSHA regulations require employers to provide and maintain all personal protective equipment necessary to protect employees from workplace hazards as outlined in 29 CFR 1910.132. However, an exception exists for fall protection harnesses. OSHA allows employees to provide their own harnesses if they meet specific criteria. To be acceptable, employee-owned harnesses must firstly comply with the applicable OSHA or ANSI standards, secondly be maintained in good condition, thirdly be inspected by a competent person before each use, and fourthly be used in accordance with manufacturer's instructions. The employer is still responsible for providing training on fall protection and the use of harnesses. The employer also has the responsibility to inspect employee-owned harnesses periodically and enforce compliance with all fall protection regulations. There are advantages and disadvantages for employee-provided fall protection harnesses. Employees may prefer their own harnesses for comfort or fit reasons. Providing their own harness can also reduce the employer's personal protective equipment costs. On the other hand, there is the potential for employees to use unsafe or non-compliant harnesses. Therefore, the employer must ensure proper inspection and maintenance. In conclusion, employees can provide their own fall protection harnesses if they meet the OSHA criteria. However, the employer remains responsible for ensuring the harnesses are safe and compliant. It's important for employers to have a clear policy and communicate the requirements to employees to minimize risks and maintain a safe work environment. Employers must ensure that all fall protection equipment, regardless of ownership, meets or exceeds the requirements outlined in OSHA standards. This includes harnesses, lanyards, lifelines, and any other components of the fall protection system. The equipment must be appropriate for the specific hazards present in the workplace. Proper fit is essential for fall protection equipment to function effectively. Harnesses must be correctly sized and adjusted to the individual employee. Employers should provide guidance on proper fitting procedures and ensure that employees understand how to adjust their harnesses for a secure and comfortable fit. Regular inspections are critical to identify any damage, wear, or defects in fall protection equipment. Inspections should be conducted before each use by the employee and periodically by a competent person designated by the employer. Any equipment that fails inspection must be removed from service immediately. Employers are required to provide comprehensive training to employees on fall protection procedures, including the proper use, inspection, and maintenance of fall protection equipment. Training should cover topics such as hazard recognition, fall protection systems, rescue procedures, and the importance of following safety protocols. Employers should maintain accurate records of all fall protection equipment, including purchase dates, inspection dates, and maintenance activities. These records can help track the condition of equipment and ensure that it is properly maintained. Rescue plans are essential for situations where an employee experiences a fall while using fall protection equipment. Employers should develop and implement rescue plans that outline the procedures for safely retrieving a fallen worker. Rescue plans should be practiced regularly to ensure that employees are familiar with procedures. Fall protection equipment should be stored properly when not in use to prevent damage or deterioration. Harnesses should be hung in a clean, dry location away from direct sunlight and extreme temperatures. Lanyards and lifelines should be coiled and sewed to prevent tangling or kinking. Employers should regularly review and update their fall protection policies and procedures to ensure that they remain effective and compliant with OSHA regulations. This includes staying informed about changes to OSHA standards and incorporating best practices into their safety programs. In addition to providing training, employers should also provide ongoing support and resources to employees on fall protection. This includes answering questions, providing guidance on equipment selection, and addressing any concerns or issues that may arise. Employers should foster a culture of safety in the workplace by encouraging employees to report any hazards or unsafe conditions. This can help identify potential problems before they lead to accidents or injuries. Employers should conduct regular safety audits to assess the effectiveness of their fall protection programs. Safety audits can help identify areas for improvement and ensure that the programs are being implemented as intended. When selecting fall protection equipment, employers should consider the specific hazards present in the workplace. This includes factors such as the height of the work area, the type of surface being worked on, and the presence of any obstacles or obstructions. Employers should ensure that fall protection equipment is compatible with other types of personal protective equipment being used in the workplace. For example, harnesses should be compatible with hard hats and safety glasses to ensure that employees can work safely and comfortably. Employers should establish a system for tracking the usage of fall protection equipment. This can help ensure that equipment is being used properly and that it is being inspected and maintained on a regular basis. Employers should investigate all incidents involving fall protection equipment to determine the root cause and prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future. This includes reviewing the circumstances of the incident, interviewing witnesses, and examining the equipment involved. Employers should provide employees with feedback on their fall protection performance. This can help reinforce safe work practices and identify areas where employees may need additional training or support. Employers should work with their employees to develop and implement fall protection programs that are tailored to the specific needs of the workplace. This can help ensure that the programs are effective and that they are supported by both management and employees. Employers should communicate regularly with their employees about fall protection issues. This can help keep employees informed about changes to policies and procedures, as well as any new hazards that may be present in the workplace. Employers should recognize and reward employees who demonstrate a commitment to fall protection. This can help create a positive safety culture and encourage employees to follow safe work practices. Employers should continuously improve their fall protection programs by incorporating new technologies and best practices. This can help ensure that the programs remain effective and that they are keeping employees safe. According to OSHA 29 CFR 1926.502, fall protection systems must meet certain strength requirements. For example, personal fall arrest systems must be capable of withstanding a static load of at least 3,600 pounds or twice the maximum arresting force. Guardrail systems must be capable of withstanding a force of at least 200 pounds applied in a downward or outward direction. Safety net systems must be capable of withstanding the force of a drop test with a 400-pound bag of sand. OSHA requires that fall protection equipment be inspected regularly to ensure that it is in good working condition. Inspections should be conducted before each use by the employee and at least annually by a competent person. Any equipment that is found to be damaged or defective must be removed from service immediately. OSHA requires that employers provide training to employees on the proper use of fall protection equipment. Training must include information on the hazards of falling, the proper selection, use, and maintenance of fall protection equipment, and the procedures for reporting any problems with the equipment. OSHA requires that employers develop and implement a written fall protection plan. The plan must include a description of the fall hazards present in a workplace, the fall protection measures that will be used, and the procedures for training employees on fall protection. OSHA requires that employers provide prompt rescue for employees who have fallen. The rescue plan must include procedures for safely retrieving the fallen worker and providing medical assistance if necessary. OSHA requires that employers investigate all fall-related incidents to determine the cause and prevent future incidents. The investigation must include a review of the circumstances of the incident, an interview with the injured worker, and an examination of the fall protection equipment that was used. OSHA requires that employers maintain records of all fall protection training, inspections, and incidents. The records must be kept for at least 3 years and must be made available to OSHA upon request. It is also important to note that state and local regulations may have additional requirements for fall protection. Employers should consult with their state and local OSHA offices to ensure that they are in compliance with all applicable regulations. Additionally, ANSI standards provide detailed guidelines for the design, testing, and use of fall protection equipment. Employers should consider ANSI standards when selecting and using fall protection equipment. Effective communication is essential for ensuring that employees understand and follow fall protection procedures. Employers should use a variety of communication methods, such as training sessions, toolbox talks, and written materials, to communicate fall protection information to employees. Employee involvement is critical for the success of any fall protection program. Employers should encourage employees to participate in the development and implementation of fall protection policies and procedures. Employers should also provide employees with opportunities to provide feedback on the effectiveness of the fall protection program. A positive safety culture is essential for preventing falls in the workplace. Employers should promote a culture of safety by providing leadership support for fall protection, recognizing and rewarding safe behavior, and holding employees accountable for following safety procedures. Remember that fall protection is not a one-time event, but rather an ongoing process. Employers should continuously monitor and evaluate their fall protection programs to ensure that they are effective and that they are keeping employees safe. The use of personal fall arrest systems requires careful consideration of factors such as fall clearance, swing fall, and anchorage strength. Employers should ensure that employees are properly trained on these factors and that they understand how to select and use personal fall arrest systems safely. Fall clearance is the vertical distance required below the anchorage point to ensure that a worker will not strike the ground or any other obstruction in the event of a fall. Swing fall is the horizontal distance a worker may swing during a fall, which can increase the risk of injury. Anchorage strength is the ability of the anchorage point to withstand the forces generated during a fall. The anchorage point must be capable of supporting at least 5,000 pounds per worker or be designed by a qualified person to withstand twice the maximum arresting force. Employers should also consider the use of fall restraint systems, which prevent workers from reaching a fall hazard. Fall restraint systems can be a more effective form of fall protection than personal fall arrest systems because they eliminate the risk of a fall altogether. When using fall restraint systems, it is important to ensure that the lanyard is short enough to prevent the worker from reaching the edge of the fall hazard. Regular maintenance of fall protection equipment is essential for ensuring that it remains in good working condition. Employers should establish a maintenance schedule for all fall protection equipment and ensure that it is followed. Maintenance should include cleaning, lubrication, and inspection of all components of the equipment. Any damaged or worn component should be replaced immediately. Proper storage of fall protection equipment is also important for preventing damage and extending its lifespan. Fall protection equipment should be stored in a clean, dry location away from direct sunlight and extreme temperatures. Harnesses should be hung up to prevent them from being crushed or damaged. Lanyards and lifelines should be coiled and stored to prevent them from becoming tangled or kinked. When working at heights, it is important to be aware of the potential for falling objects. Employers should implement measures to protect workers from falling objects, such as using tow boards, debris nets, or barricades. Workers should also be required to wear hard hats to protect their heads from falling objects. In addition to the above measures, employers should also consider the use of aerial lifts or scaffolding to provide a safe working platform for workers at heights. Aerial lifts and scaffolding must be inspected regularly to ensure that they are in good working condition. Workers must be properly trained on the safe operation of aerial lifts and scaffolding. Finally, it is important to remember that fall protection is a shared responsibility. Employers and employees must work together to identify and eliminate fall hazards and to ensure that fall protection equipment is used properly. By working together, we can create a safer workplace for everyone.